Good afternoon. Let's see if I've got this going correctly now. Yeah, everything looks good. Okay, welcome to Risk Neutral Trading. This is my Globex stream session. Normally, every day is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time until 1500. That's the cash market. And this week I've started this Globex opens to see if there's any interesting opportunities in the opening range breakout for the Globex, which is now, or for the Asia session. So this is a continuation of my normal streaming. This is Risk Neutral Trading. This is my virtual trading journal. And it's not intended for trade or financial advice because I'm not licensed to do that. But it is my trading journal, and I take live trades in real time. There's never any recordings or playback. So any trades here are live, real time, and recorded for posterity. I share this stream in the form of a YouTube video because for a couple of reasons, actually. First, it adds to the transparency and the accountability, and also, I'm able to review the streams on any device, so I don't have to be standing here at my stand-up desk, trade desk, to review them or to go back through them. So that's really handy. There's a disclaimer in the description here, so please read that. The usual thing about financial advice, and this is for entertainment or education only. And I want to stress that this Globex stream, as well as my RTH cash stream, which is all day, there's not intended or implied in any way to be my way or the highway. This is the progression and the progress of how I'm developing my consistently profitable trading business, and contributions in the chat, suggestions, ideas. I think you're nuts. What a great idea. Whatever it is, I'm absolutely open to that, and that's perfectly welcome. So let's get on to the business at hand here, which is market has just opened, the cash market, or the cash. You can tell I'm used to the mornings. The Globex market has just opened here. The first thing we need to do is get Blue Boy out of the bed here and get him going over here. Blue Boy is my euphemism for this vertical line, and I put this marker on the first print of every session. You can see here, if I scroll back to today's RTH session, there's the Blue Boy. This is the opening print of today's RTH, and here's what we did. And here's where we are now. And that's it's really a great tool for me. I used to try to keep track of the migrating VPOCs with these flags and stuff so that I knew what context was, the context of the session. And it's so obvious. I don't know why I didn't think of it a long time ago, but I'm glad I finally did. As long as I have this blue line over here to the left edge of the screen, there's no question that I have the entire session in view, because right here in Bookmap is the current live market. So, current live market, first print of the session. There's no possibility that I can misinterpret context or what we're doing, So that's how that works. Now, I also trade or use IRT here for charting. We're on the full session now. We've just opened right here. This is the close. This is the just finished RTH session. You'll notice how that matches just exactly what we were looking at on Bookmap. And here we are. This is the micro ES, the micro NQ, and this is my higher time frame micro composite chart. This is a daily candle for the RTH session. Oh, one thing about IRT, I forgot to mention. If you notice, the header of every one of these windows is the instrument, the periodicity, chart type, and the session. So even if I've forgotten to say something, or I'm, busy or whatever, you can always just have a look and know exactly what you're looking at. I do have a similar tab, exact same layout for the the minis as the micros. And then these are some strategies that I'm developing. And here's a particular IB continuation or failure strategy. And this was the trade that it took today. Now, let me put this out there real quick, like, to clarify. Any time you see this kind of a trade on a chart here in IRT, this chart has nothing to do with the trading system, except that the results of the system are sent to this chart. So essentially, this chart is for me to visualize and understand that the system is doing what I think it should do when I think it should do that, if you understand. These lines and things here, these levels are not part of the trading system at all, but they do accurately represent levels that are defined by code here in the rules. Now, what is part of the trading system is this indicator which plots the entry, whether it's drawdown or long, and where the profit targets are taken, etc. So in this case, this is 72 ticks. It got out here at T2, but obviously if I had been trading this, I would be managing the trade and we'd have taken it off way up here, But the important thing to note about this is these are all happening within the IRT simulated environment. This is forward testing of strategies, how I vet a particular strategy. I don't trade any strategies which I have not previously vetted through back testing and through my analysis of the back tests, which is right here. Each one of these lines is a full back test. This one's 498 days, 766 trades, so many winners, average winner, so many losers, average loser, win rate, loss rate, expectancy, R factor, maximum favorable excursion, adverse excursion, consecutive winners, losers, and everything. Every one of these is a detailed back test to be able to determine if there's a positive edge to lean on for trading. And I don't take any trades or setups which are not already vetted. And I don't use the term lightly. If I say that it's a vetted setup, it has gone through the rigorous statistical process to do so, to be able to say that. This is another one that is based on something that we're going to go over here tonight, the edgeful data. One of the things worth talking about here is pretty cool. I don't know where that even came from, but okay. Well, make sure the stream is working right. And welcome to the stream, by the way. Drop into the chat and say hi. Where are you? Who are you? Blah, blah, all that stuff. Well, let me just do this. I approach trading as a statistical business of probabilities. I realize that we are operating in a random environment, that the outcome of the next trade is statistical fact that it is 50-50. This is a binary event. It can only go up or down. I think you'll find out that's 50-50. And I never succumb to the gambler's fallacy. We've had 5 stops in a row. Probability of having another stop is 90%. No, the probability is 50-50 every flipping time. No matter history. Remember this saying? Have you ever heard this? Past performance is not indicative of future results. How many thousand times have you heard that as a trader? That's a really important statistical statement. Doesn't matter how many winners in a row, how many losers in a row you've had. Statistically, the outcome of the next trade is 50-50. So, what I do believe, and it's because the most successful traders in the world discovered this, and this is how they have built their businesses, is the correct approach is to identify a setup that happens frequently. You know, it doesn't do you much good if you have a great setup that happens once a year. But let's say we identify a setup that happens frequently, and then the specific rules to validate that system. That's what this is, or this. These are the specific rules. A, B, trigger. Absolutely specific, no discretion, period. At that point, I'm able to backtest it over a statistically significant data set. What that means is we're outside the possibility of random distribution. And what is random distribution? Well, here you go. Flip a coin 10 times. We all know that a coin is 50-50. I think we all do. I do. Flip a coin 10 times. Are you at all surprised if you get more heads than tails, or vice versa? Of course not. That's random distribution. You flip that coin 1,000 times, you're going to be pretty close to 50-50, if not right on it. So that's why you need to have a large enough data set to be outside random distribution. Having something with 2 instances or 1 is not very, is not very good from a probability point of view or statistics point of view. Then you're able to determine if you have a positive expectancy or not. If you do have a positive expectancy, your mission as a trader is to take every instance of that setup and those rules that present themselves in the live market, and you will lean on the law of large numbers, which is a real thing, to manifest your expectancy or your edge to your bank account. That is, by the way, the exact business model of a casino from the point of view of the casino. Trading correctly done like this method is in no way gambling, because it's a probability and the law of large numbers. Stops are a cost of doing business. Absolutely. Casinos know. They will play no game on the casino floor that they have not pre-identified to have a positive edge and specific rules. Then they put it on the floor, and their only goal in life, or their only mission, is to play the game as many times as they can in 24 hours. That's why there's no motion on the casino floor by the pit people. They don't care. They don't care if we win or lose, because it's probabilities. Their only mission is to deal that hand at 21 as many times as they can in 24 hours. Because the more occurrences you have of that specific game, the larger the large number becomes and increases the profit. Boop, there you go. Well, that's what I'm doing. The purpose of these streams is to identify whether this opening range breakout in the Globex now and in Asia in a little while have an interesting probability for me based on a setup which I'm using from a new data analysis tool that I have called Edgeful. And why I'm doing that is this takes me a long time to do, because I'm no whiz-bang young, hey Magic, what's up? No whiz-bang young code guy. So this takes me a long time to do, and I want to be more efficient. My goal is to be an efficient, profitable trader, not a code monkey. So there you go. The tool that I'm looking at now is Edgeful. And what we're going to do is change a whole bunch of stuff around here. This was from today. we first need to go to the daily session, 6 p.m. to 1700, which this is UTC, which is 4, which is London. I mean, New York. What's the difference? I'm in Central Standard Time, but it doesn't matter as long as everything's on the same time zone. Now, what we're going to be looking for is all templates, the opening range breakout. We got to change these from the IBs of today to the opening range. So first we want to confirm it's the MES because that's what we want. And we want to change the sub-report to, okay, we got it by weekday. So here's Thursday. So the probability of a breakout, that's from the to the long side, is 8.3%. The probability of a breakdown is 4.17, and the probability of a double break is 87.5%. You understand? You see how these work? And no breaks is there's no possibility of no breakout. So what does this mean? Well, which way you're going to go? Who the hell knows? But we're going to try to figure that out further. And also, if the IB low is taken, for example, and you want to mean revert back to the other side, you got an 87.5% probability you're going to get from the IB low to the IB high, or vice versa, because this is the percentage of both of them. Now, the double break, there's 22 occurrences. This is where it gets a little dicey here, and I have yet to figure this exactly how to think about it. This is for 6 months. So there are this many Wednesdays in 6 months, huh? About right, because there's 52 Wednesdays in a year, 52 weeks, right? There's one a week. That's kind of says it all. So let's look back a little further here. Let's look back a year and see what the spread does. Even greater, about the same. So looks like on Thursday, the double break is the hands down winner. Now let's look at rejection. In this report, I need to change some custom settings here because I need to get the right days going on. Thursday. We need to make sure we're in the 0 zone. We don't have a closing zone yet. This is a real insightful report that I lean on pretty heavily during the day. So if the opening breakout happens, if the first level of the opening breakout is the opening breakout high, these would be the probabilities. If it's the low, these are the probabilities. Now, you can look over here at the book map and guess what? Well, there's the high. And we've had a bunch of different lows, haven't we? So at this moment in time, even with bookmap, it's easy to spot that this is the high. The opening range high was put in first. If you want to use this handy dandy, and I really can't tell you how much I appreciate this trading view that I had never used before. I feel pretty stupid about that. But anyway, I got to change a couple things here because this is what I was using earlier. So this is the IB from today. I want to get rid of this because it won't, the dashboard will not be correct. I go here, I zoom down here, and I show the dashboard. Go away. Thank you very much. Now, we want to have the Globex dashboard, which is this boy right here. I'm going to turn that guy on. So we have those data. Well, ooh, what happened here? That doesn't look good. Boom. 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 All right. So far, our opening range is 9.25 ticks, or points, I'm sorry. We this is the reason I use opening range is because for me, the initial balance is always 1 hour, and it's the RTM and it's the RTH session. So I consider opening range different, potentially different lengths of time and different sessions. The way I set these up for this exercise is that they are the same. They are all 1 hour. So this is the IB from today. And here is the opening range right now. And we've put in the high first, and now we've pushed down to the low. And congratulations on that short, my friend. Yeah, you mean for the opening range? Well, there's two ways, obviously two things. This is the indicator from, if you, let me, for the sake of the stream, if you subscribe to Edgeful, which is this thing, automatically part of that subscription, you have access to all of these indicators right here by invite only, Edgeful indicators. And so that's how I got to, I am starting to become familiar with TradingView, and it's really slick. It's so much handier to do this quick kind of analysis than IRT, for example, for me at this point. And I've been using IRT for more than 10 years. Anyway, to just do this quick stuff is just so much faster. But anyway, now in answer to your question. So this is the indicator. And this can be set however you freaking want to. This can be set number of days back, coordinated time. I can make this 1 minute if I want to. What's the opening range time? 8 to 9. This is, and now remember that this is looking at the morning, right? So, and this is UTC plus 10. So this is Tokyo. This is Asia. And the reason I was messing with this over the weekend was I wanted to be able to be sure I was looking at data for Sunday. Because all of the other reports and everything are Monday through Friday. So I had to set this up so that this was Monday morning, not Sunday afternoon, which is what it is for me when the session opens, just like right now. Anyway, yes, the short answer to your question is you can set the indicator up for any which way you want to go. And you can also adjust the percentages of the levels in here if you want to. So that's pretty handy. Now, going back to Edgeful, which is I think what your question was really about, the opening range, let's just see about that. I think you can, but now that I'm shooting my mouth off here, I don't really know. Let's customize it. Well, let's do the basic report. Let's go to standard report. That's going to be just this has got no day filters, no anything else. This is just based on the time zone and the full day, and this is the opening range, and there we are. And the opening range time is 6 to 7 p.m. based on this full day. So and its candle time is 5 minutes throughout. I'm not stalling. I'm trying to read this because I never looked before. Here we go. Opening range time frame. 9 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 30 minutes, 1 hour, up to 1 hour. 1 hour is the maximum you can do. So there you go. Yes, you can. That was a long-winded babbling explanation for yes. Oh, God damn it. Really? The wrong screen again. Boy, I'm telling you, dude, I'm glad you're here because, well, so we went through what I showed you first that I guess didn't come across is how the indicator is different, and you can set the indicator up however you want to in any time frame that you want for the ORB time. The important part for the data is that you can customize the data, customize the opening range. First of all, but you have to start with the right session, right? But you can customize it. Oops, wrong one. Customize it. The opening range period from 1 minute to whatever you want. So yes, you can. And then you can also set your candles whatever you want, which don't really matter unless you set the criteria to close. If you set this to candle close, the candle period of time makes a huge difference because the wick is high or low, right? So if at any point in that 5 minutes the price goes through the high or goes through the low, that's that point. That's the data point. If you have it set for close, it means it could go, the high could go 20 points past your level and come back and close 1 point below it, and it would not register as a hit. So I leave them on wick and I leave them on 5 minutes, if that's clear. Yeah, well, what I was saying about the trading view deals is that those indicators from Edgeful are all free and available to you with your subscription to Edgeful. But if you've been using it so long, you must already know how simple it would be to build one of those indicators yourself. So yeah. Good for the short. Close to 10 handles, I guess. That's nice. What I'm working on is this specific data for this opening range thing. So I'm going to get back to that at this point. Here we are. There we go. Here we are, standard report. Let's get back to the rejection. If the opening range high is formed first on Thursday with no ending zone parameter, there's a 34% probability we'll take the high and only a 65% probability we'll take the low first. But remember that there's an 86% probability that we'll break both, and only 8 and 6 that we take the high or the low. It's only. What that says to me, and I don't know, how you interpret it, but for example, we break out the bottom. Well, that would to me be a logical mean reversion trade back the other side, because we got an 86% probability we're going to go across the range, I guess, doesn't it? That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, I did something that I haven't really talked about in the streams before, but since you're a trading view guy, I know all of that stuff. This thing right here, this thing, let me see if I can do it. Okay. Strategy tester menu is moved. It's now located in this tab. Okay. So I wanted to see, now I screwed myself. I don't know how to get that back probably. Oh yeah, I guess I do. Yeah, okay. I wanted to create a strategy based around a trading strategy that I could backtest based around these levels, the typical IB high, retracement, go, right? So I started messing around with this thing, and I opened up a browser, and it took about an hour to generate that code. I was shocked, completely shocked. It's you're right about amazing, and you know things are amazing. You're absolutely right about that. So here we are back at let's back to business here and the point of the stream. So to confirm our IB high has been put in first, that means we've got and here's the low, so the expected first break would be to the low, which they call breakdown in Edgeful. And like I said, there's two ways you can look at these. You can either look at them as front running. So this is way too early. I'm not talking about really doing this. It's only 17:30 now. So we got another 30 minutes on this opening range. But if price pulls back up here to the 50, and this is your context, might be reasonable to target the low and trade short, looking for lower. I don't necessarily recommend trading in anticipation of a level. More that if the low is broken, there's an 83% probability that we are going to break the high, because that's what the statistics say. That's what the data says. So if it breaks the low down here and you throw on a long, two things. You can have a asymmetric trade location upside down, because if it trades 2 ticks below where you got long, you think it's over with, and you've got all this upside. I don't know. This is just this is the purpose of these streams right now, is to kind of figure all of this stuff out. Well, I don't really know how. I've never really done any of that. So I don't know. But yeah, it sounds. I know one guy in Static is built some stuff with that, and she's pretty happy with it. I think Claude. I think. And I'm such a noob at that stuff. When I did that code that I was just showing you about that test to try to figure out an actual back test to compete with IRT, and that code that it created, I just opened up a browser and started typing that stuff in. I have no idea if it was Claude, Chat GPT, Mod, or maybe it was just the Google thing. I don't know. Because I did open the browser, it was in Chrome. So I guess it would default to its own, whatever that is. Is that Chat GPT? I don't even know. That's, I hate to sound like a dork, but but if the shoe fits, if you're a dork, sound like a dork. Yeah. Okay. So we're past the halfway mark here. Now, one other part of this that's pretty interesting. First, let's look at the rejections. We got those. So the high was put in first. This is the probability we take the low. That's the probability we take the high. And there's nothing in the closing zone yet, which can have a big effect. I'll show you. The closing zone is right here. And this is how it works. And on the indicator, which is about the easiest thing to explain it on, price, let's say, closes in the way you assign the percentages to the zones are opposite the level that was formed first. So in this instance, assuming that it's the end of the initial balance, or the initial balance, this would be 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. If price closes, the last price of the opening range is in this zone. It's the 0 to 25. And that would be the ending zone. I don't want to do this here. This would be the ending zone. Weighting that's put on in the right here. So, and here's basically the text that says just what I did. But here's the difference. Here's what's pretty surprising. Let's assume that it finishes about the middle, around the 50 mark. So let's say it's the 50 to 75 or the 25 to 50 as the closing zone. Look at the difference. Huge. There was absolutely no probability over here. This wasn't formed first. This one was, but these have changed substantially. So that's a pretty interesting dynamic for the data. We'll wait for the thing to close and we see what we're going to do. Another part of this that I haven't really gone into here in the stream yet is after the, well, that's the rejection. So then we have the retracement, which I have gone over a lot. This is a way to gauge your entries or place your entries and or your stops. Opening range high was put in first. No, this is the breakout, not which happened first. If the opening range low breaks first, which is over here, the opening range low breaks out first or breaks down first, which is what this column's for. There's an 84% probability that price will retrace back to the 25 zone, 50% to the 50 zone, and 8. So the thinking could be, well, I'm not going to enter on the breakout. That's dumb. 83% says it's going to pull back to the 25% area, and 50% it's going to make it to 50. So if I entered, so here are these deals. Let's say we break out. Huge probability we're going to pull back to this 25 zone. 50% probability we're going to pull back here. So if you wait to enter until price is near the 50 or just the other side of it, and then put your stop on the other side of the 25, much better probability that you're going to maintain profitability and not get a stop hit, I think. That's one way to use that idea. There's also another one here, which is the levels. Now, this is pretty interesting. This has to be changed because this is based on 15-minute orb, and I'm not sure how to change that. Customize down here, I guess. Let's look. Better be. More, yeah, 15 minutes. Okay, here we go. 1 hour, there we are. Candle time frame is 15 minutes. We don't have that. We have 5 minutes. You can see I've never used this before. By wick, customs highs range. Okay, save. Excuse me. So here we have the correct OB and the candles. All days. Let's say we're going to break down because that's what the data is indicating, and that's what the context is looking like to me. It looks like we will likely take the IB opening range low first if we continue on like this. So that's a breakdown. So these are the probabilities that you will attain these standard deviations below the opening range. And there's the data that supports them. And you can do that on the end. You can visualize them over here by looking at the indicator again. and going down here to these levels. So it's half, -1, -2. Let's just put 3 for the hell of it. So there you go. Now, they're not plotting because the opening range isn't set yet, so it can't do the math. But once the opening range is set, those target levels, and you can lean on the probabilities here. I've never actually seen them all so close as this. Well, it doesn't go to 1. It does go to, but it says 100% to the half standard deviation. Those can be your suggested targets. Or that's the theory about how that report is supposed to be used as I see it, as I understand it. So we wait for the the opening range to set now. And on the other hand, you're like Magic Man here, who's already taken money out of the market shorting. Strictly discretionary trading, I guess. Unless you have some cool indicator that told you to do that, and then let me know. One of the things that I'm going to vet, or that I want to vet, is the VPOC migration, which should be pretty easy to do, I think. I'm really hopeful that I can get this backtest stuff set up and use the edgeful backtesting, so I don't spend so much time, beating my head against the wall with IRT, frankly. Where am I now? Trying to sort something else. I got something to deal with my antivirus stuff. Stand by. Let's see now. Okay. What kind of other craziness are these guys going to get up to tonight, I suppose? What did the fearless leader? He wants everybody to rip out their furnaces and put in some coal-fired Arcos again, and everybody start using Arcos. Is that what he wants to do? God damn. Crazy. Crazy. And tomorrow's non-farm payroll, so, you know, that's a pretty big deal. Jesus. Ron DeSantis is an attorney. I don't think he's a Navy lifer, I thought. Yeah, this guy is a screw loose extraordinaire. I saw something about this guy when he first got put into whatever it is. He's related to Pulte Homes, the big builders in Colorado. He had some wealth management thing where people would invest and they'd come up on stage and he'd slap them in the face with big green dildos. He's just like, are you kidding me? And they just appointed they just hired or put into position one of the January 6th convicted people into a security sensitive position in the Pentagon. And I used to be in a company where we had security clearances and a black ops processing room and all that kind of shit. And boy, if you had so much as a parking ticket 10 years ago, you didn't get clearance. Now, apparently, convicted felons can have it. I don't get it, really. Seems to be that those kind of things scare me. This rhetoric and all the fake news and all that stuff. Yeah, okay, it's just disappointing. But you start getting crazy, inexperienced cowboys in spots where they've got like the Doge thing with that little kid that was working in the Doge deal, and he was taking all the Social Security data and selling it. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's that kind of stuff's dangerous. It harms us all. I wish somebody would tighten it up, but I don't know. That's going to happen. Tighten her up, baby. Oh, they got my antivirus figured out. That's cool. Okay. 10 more minutes till this, and we're trading over the 50 now. If my math is my eyeball gauge is correct. Let's see if I'm right. Let's look at our friend TradingView. Do you actually trade with Trading? Do you execute with TradingView? I guess you can. Yeah, we're back on the 50s. That's exactly what I thought. I didn't. Yeah, like I said, I have nothing to do with it. Know anything about it. I'll tell you something else about TradingView that surprised the living hell out of me. They've got a one of their versions, their plans or whatever they call it, it's like $300 a month. I was really surprised. I didn't know it had become such a mature platform and had such high-end stuff going on there. I didn't know it. Just, I guess, just never looked, I guess. Cool. So I can now do my I can get this virus thing figured out, straightened out. Okay, there we go. Pretty stupid. I had the wrong window up there. They my antivirus renewed, and all of a sudden keys weren't accepted, and they couldn't get it to accept the key that they told me to use. And I finally wrote a text them back to wherever this fellow was, who knows. Not their fault, and nice guys. So I'm never abusive to tech people that are trying to help me. And I said, well, follow my thinking here. If you guys can't figure out how to get your system to renew on a scheduled payment and accept the key, how the hell why should I think that you have the ability to scan and protect my computer from sophisticated viruses and attacks? Get this fixed by 1700 today and let me know, or I'll cancel the payment and I'll get a new solution. And about 2:00, they came back and said, we had a problem on our back end. We figured it out. We've got it fixed or whatever. So wait a little while and give it a try. So I did. Crazy. It's like, you can't process a payment, but I'm supposed to think you can protect me from some bunch of whiz-bang Russian hackers from somewhere? Yeah. Crazy. I don't know how it's going to do this scan while this is all running, but I guess it can. All right, so well, we're coming up on 5 more minutes, and this is going to be in place. Now we have the great and powerful plot. What do you do with it? What do I do with this IB now? Let's draw a few lines over here and I'm pretty sure we're not going to get any new ones unless there's some dramatic thing happen. So what do we have? 75.90 half and 78 quarter. I'm so terrible at math anymore. I actually built a tool for this. What is it? 75. 78 quarter. Okay, so we need, well, half is pretty much normal. We're going to need to have a, the 50 is 75/84 quarter. And 75/87 quarter. And 84 quarter. No, 81 quarter. So there's the zones. There are the zones. For my handy dandy little tool that I had to make over here to save myself some time. And I better make sure I've got the hedge all figured out in case I'm going to do something. That's pretty dumb. I haven't figured that out yet. So the hedge is just a trade management technique. It is nothing magical. We're going to have 5 micros. And the way I guess, for the sake of the stream, and you probably already know this, Magic, in order to trade with Bookmap, you've got to activate the trade control panel, pick an account now. You used to pick which way you were going to use to trade with your mouse, the chart or the dome. Now there's no options, just the account, and select a number of contracts. And in this hedge instance, I'm not using my typical multi-brackets, which have fixed stops and fixed targets. So the hedge works like this. The over here is the mini, and it's a 1 lot, and that's set to go. Now I can use the tool to describe what's going to happen here. If I just pick a say 85, 75, 85, where the POC is now. Okay, or here, this is the mini, but same. So if I say I'm going to have my entry at 75/85, okay, and it's a 5 lot, going to use a 3 point or 12 tick stop. This is how the hedge would set up. In lieu of a stop loss, a full stop loss at 3 points, which is, oh, and this is a long, by the way. Instead, what'll happen is I will add 5 more micros, bringing the average price to right there, and simultaneously short 1 mini. So it's a full hedge at this point. The maximum potential, the maximum risk is 1.5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ticks. And then the price can go up and down all it wants to, and you're only going to be exposed. The only risk you're exposed to is this difference from here to here. And obviously then, at a point where price comes back the direction you think it should wanted to go in the first place, or the other way, you can take off whichever one of those hedge legs you want, that you need to, and there you go. Now, this is pretty interesting, just looking at the basic price action here. We're now back up over the 50. We're almost to the 25% from the top. So if we break the IB high first, that will be tipping a lot of these statistics on their head. Hey, buddy. Oh, good big boy. Good big lucky boy. Let's get back over here to that. Well, the IB high was formed first, but it looks to me like we're going to have a pretty big possibility to take the IB high out first. I mean, just look at it, price action. There we are. Or there we are. Now, I haven't configured or built these indicators to do the zones here yet. You got to code each one of these and then add them, and it's so much easier to go like this. Boop, there we are. So we know that there's a 34% probability with the IB high first. We're going to take this one, 50, 60 something percent down here. But the key metric for me today is the let me think about this. I want to be sure I'm looking at these right things here for myself. Did I change something here that I don't remember? No. Oh. Here. These are the probabilities of a single break, a double break. So no matter which side breaks first, looks to me like the odds are on side for a mean reversion to take the other side. But nobody has broken yet. Now we have put the OB in, and we've got another hour here to see how it plays out before we have the Asia kick in. So looking at this at this point, I wouldn't. It's a coin flip right here. It's pretty close to 50-50 which way it's going to go. It's 30-60, I guess. Thinking about it from a point of view of front running the level. In other words, okay, I'm going to get short right here and front run this level. I just don't think that's got good probability. I thought you were taking off. Yeah, I was, because I was talking to the cats, but have a great day. Your shorts. Congratulations. As far as I'm concerned, this is a nothing today. Nothing I would do. And the thing I've noticed about the Globex opening range here is, okay, it's been set now. It's less than an hour before Asia. I'm thinking there's not much potential here. If I were in a trade, would I hold it through Asia? You know? The thing I have to be sure about when I review the statistics over here, I think it's better that I, instead of using this daily, that I use a specific time frame for just the period of time of the Globex, like here, you know, well, wherever I went, Chicago Globex. In other words, just for the 2 hours, because otherwise the probabilities would extend it way past that. I don't think it would be valid. If that makes any sense. I'm not sure that it does make sense, but yeah. What the hell is all that? Oh yeah, it's a whipsaw, dude. I mean, I would be real. Yeah, be careful. You can get yourself chopped up. Absolutely. Right now, it's a nothing. Likely, we will take the low. So, you know, in hindsight, of course, the rearview mirror is so ever so clear. If we pulled back here above the 50 before the 75, you got short there, down to the lows. Well, what have we got? It's 13 points. So it's about 3.5 points between each one of these, right? So if you got, say, there's 3.5 and another 6, so maybe 6, 7 points. I'm thinking the Asians might be more viable. And I don't think I need these targets or these standard deviations down here either. Well, if it works out for you, I mean, there's a lot of people that use a 1 minute opening range, and they just put a long above it and a short below it, and whichever one gets hit first, Merry Christmas, and away they go. I've messed with it a little bit, but I've never actually tried to trade in it, or more importantly, been able to code it up so that I can have a statistic for it. Now, you could do that with this and see what the probabilities are of, 1 minute's pretty freaking quick. Really darn quick. If there was a way to actually, be able to really identify an opening swing any day, swing high, swing low. In this case, there wasn't really one, but typically on an RTH Open, if you get on one side or the other, but that's pretty much just gambling as far as I can tell. That's what Hogue or whatever over at Top Step, they've got something they do every day or they used to years ago, I don't know. But not really on the ES ever. Gold, I think, and crude sometimes, if I remember right. They just put a long above and a short below the opening range, the 1 minute. And whichever one gets hit, there you go. And the stop goes on the other side. I would say what we're going to have now is we're going to take this IB low, I would guess. We came out over the 50. So that would be in accordance with the data. That's the most probable outcome. Wait a minute, something's, wait a minute. Okay. I was thinking the math was wrong on this little thing over here, but it's 13 and a quarter points, and we're going to take the IB low now. So, there you go. Essentially about 7 points if you took this front run, if you took this and, front running it up here. Doesn't make sense to me. And there we go. No, not quite. Hey, Panda. Yeah, bye-bye. Well, there's the IB stat right there. And we look at our friend over here. Yes, low was broken. There we go. Now, the percentages, the probabilities say that there's an 83% probability we're going to go back up and take the IB high out today. That'll be interesting to watch. But I'm afraid that that's within, I'm afraid that that's needs to be constrained into the time frame, because that could go out for the rest of the whole damn session, which is until 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's not a very tradable thing. I've got to adjust those time frames for the session time frames to contain it into the data I'm looking at. Unless I'm wrong. Yeah, I think that's a pretty important thing for me to figure. Hey, Steven. No, I didn't. Actually, I was watching this and talking to Magic here a little bit. Now I got to remember what the stat was. That's the next problem. So what we have so far is the opening range by weekday. One thing that I was just realizing here. This is from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. So this is from 1700 Central or 6 to 5 UTC, London. Well, that's from an hour ago until all through the night and tomorrow, including the RTH session. That I've got to change that because who knows? Yeah, of course we might. Of course it could break down here and break back up there again. 83, because this is saying there's an 83% probability that price is going to break the low and then break the other side. Well, in the entire trading session for the next 24 or 23 hours, that's very possible. But I'm interested. I want to know about the data, the probabilities of now, I'm thinking I won't be watching this Globex very much and look at the Asia Open because that might be a little bit more volume. And also I'm doing this, as I said yesterday, I think I'm doing this on the MES, not the NQ. So, here is this is what we're doing on the MES, and this is what we've done so far tonight on the NQ. Pretty big difference. And that zinc guy with Edgeful trades usually on the Qs or the NQ, but usually the Qs. So that would be basically the micro NASDAQ. Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm trying to remember the parameters around the stat. So it was the breakout by weekday, and this wasn't it. But it was the retracement, I think, wasn't it? Do you remember that part? Football. Usually I'm looking at the rejections. And Thursday, so let's go back to the custom. Oh, you know what? I know my memory sucks, so if I'm not mistaken, I took a snap of it. There we go. So it's the rejection. It's customized for Wednesday with 0 to 24% in the zone. Well, look at there. See, who's your daddy? Who's your dummy? I mean, daddy. Wednesday, 24 to bleh. Yeah, there should be one instance here, right? Wasn't that what it was? And there we go. There's one. So this was yesterday. There was not, but we did take that out. So there we have the data. And let's go look. What is this now? First break, so the orb low was put in, first break's the orb low. It says 2. I don't know how there can be 2 now. I didn't scroll this down on my snap, but wasn't that what we were looking at last night? This was 0. And now it says 2. That's a little weird. The orb was put in low first. Well, we can look at this. Ooh, baby. Come on. Come on. There we go. So, is this the right day? Hey, one of you wizards, isn't there a way to have like on my IRT, I have a info box that pops up when you hover over a candle? Isn't there must be a way to turn that on here somewhere, I guess. Isn't there? You can tell I spend a lot of time researching. So much easier to be a lazy puke and just ask somebody. Yeah, this was it. So here was the orb low put in first. And then this big news candle put in the high. That's what changed it from the other. That's what flipped it around. And then it took the opening range low breakout. So, but now what I don't understand is why the frequency is saying 2. Right here. So now I'm probably more confused. It did pick up 1, but it picked up more than 1. Yeah. Oops. Now I don't know what to do or say or think. Obviously, good point. Thanks for reminding me. Obviously, this, is this just, ooh, shiny? If the data's not really pulling through and I don't have confidence in it, then I'm going to absolutely stop. Oh, wait. There we go. 1 year. If I'm not mistaken, it was 6 months. I'll bet you that's what it was. 6 months. Okay, let's have a look. Ooh. That's probably a good thing. Let's check that out. Because if I remember correctly, last night we determined that there was one a year back. Let's see. Still 0. Still 0. And we know for a fact that yesterday this was set. So this is still showing yesterday's data. This is not updated, including yesterday's data. That's a good question for Edgeful tech support. Yeah, you're right. That's right. You got it right on the head. You thought of it the same time I did, I guess, or probably before, but I didn't notice up there. So that's kind of disappointing too. Well, maybe, but check it again tomorrow. And who knows? Maybe they, pull their data up once a month, once a week. Shit if I know. But that's a real pertinent question for these guys. Absolutely. And we know that there's the record. There's the permanent record that we know it was yesterday. Now, am I doing something else stupid here? Let's think about that. Well, this is all the data you could imagine over here rather than just the hour. So this is way more data. Way more opportunity, because if the opening range broke any time in this time frame is where this data is going to come from. So that's in 23 hours. That's not right. That's why I don't think what I'm looking at here for this particular, the Globex opening range is valid at all. So let's see what we can do about confusing myself with that. Okay. So there we go. This is the first 1 hour of the 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. UTC 5. Now what I need to make sure of is that I do the same stuff for the, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Because, yeah, it doesn't matter. Because the opening range over here in the Globex, as long as it's plotting the same time, this is not looking back at any data. This is not any sort of a data analysis. This is just drawing pictures. So having these indicators at a different time zone doesn't matter, I don't think, unless I'm missing something. But this is correct, because now it's only looking at 5 to 6 p.m. for the opening range, and time the zone is till 7, which is then will kick into Asia. So today, this is what we should have achieved, and we did so far. But this one, oh shit, the bed, look at how that changed. Ooh, this was 100% or 80%. And these were nothing, remember? Am I crazy? Probably, but I mean. Oh, and I'll tell you something else I remember, something else I need to look at. And the rejection is I did not put in, oh yes I did, okay. I'll be sure the candle, tired. No. The low print is in the 24 to 50 right here. I don't know. That's when you look at the picture here, do you see this one? This is how they've defined that indicator in Edgeville. So they're actually back one. This would actually be here. So that would be the 50 to 75. Let's look at that and see what happens. Well, that's complete horseshit. I'm out clevering myself here, I guess. Well, let's push out the range and see if it's just because of the 6-month story. Let's look at a couple of years. Oops. Yeah, it's just the 6 months. That's ending zone, closing zone, whatever they call it. What is it called? Ending zone. That really makes one hell of a difference. We get into Trump world here. Let's check a 1 month and see what happened. Nothing. Nobody on third. We don't have any instances of anything with this same criteria. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? So this is an anomalous outlier. Wow. Well, we did take the opening right now. Where was that thing where? See what I was looking at here. Pretty sure it was this one. I'm gonna put this back. I'm gonna put the zone back to. Wait a minute, wrong candle. This doesn't have a zone. Okay. I'm going to put back the time zone to the full day and see if this this was about 8%. This was maybe 6 or 8, and this was about 80. Let's see what we see. No, well, must have been doing something different here. I guess I'm getting rummy and tired. A long freaking day. Well, where was that? By weekday? Ah, yes, that was it. Just the basic performance by weekday on a Thursday. There we go. Now, let's see if this is even remotely in the same ballpark over here. Not enough time to do by the day. There's not enough days because there's only one, I guess. I've had this happen before, and I sent a ticket to support. Punch it out a year. Let's see. I think it's the same thing, but maybe not. Yeah. It's too short a time frame down here by the for the weekday thing. Now whoops. Oh, okay. Let's look at this on a different level. Let's get rid of the by weekday story. And just do standard. Oh, and I can't filter by weekday, even in the custom part. Can I? No. Well, so there's that. Asia, which we're going to get pretty quick. Well, certainly one thing's for sure, I believe. There's not a 76% probability that, well, it says there is, in this entire 23-hour period that we are going to trade from. We've already broken the low. We're fussing around down here that we're going to take it back up to the other side, which is up here. So that, and this one we can do the daily for sure. We can do it on Thursdays, and it's even more so. It's 87%. This says that if we put this trade on and then got out of the way, we got an 87% probability that this thing is going to go. This thing is going to go from here all the way back up here in that period of time. Mean reversion. Oh, I guess I'm tired. I'm the rummy dummy at this point, I guess. So we'll see what happens here when Asia kicks in. Oh, hell, it's almost there, 20 minutes. Well, leave these lines over here for now. But then I'll have to redo them for Asia, so that's not a problem. These are just the zones. And again, this is, not much data. 24 total days in 6 months. Yeah, that's about right. Similar data on Thursday, looking back 2 years on this time frame. That's the problem, I really think. As soon as we get to Asia, will be real interesting to see if any of this is similar. Were you able to come right with these session prices at all, Stephen? Or figure out what your IRT is? Your IRT running on the same data as you booked, or something like that? Or none of my business. I'm tired. I gotta say, I'm tired. Yeah, it's too short a window here. Okay. By time, I haven't even looked at some of these. It's amazing. What the hell does this mean? Wow. Let's see what this says. This maybe this is some sort of secret magic deal I didn't know before. Broke before, broke after. Well, first we got to change this. Magic pointed out that this was goofy, so let's change this. It's not 15 minutes, it's an hour. And 1 hour. Breakout time. We gotta change this to 2 hours. So this would be before Asia. Okay. Oh, there's a new one I didn't know. Oh, okay. So 100% of the time, the IB is broken between the IBs, or the OB, opening range is broken before Asia starts, is what this is saying. Ah, I forgot to change the candle. Not that that really matters because we're going by wick and not close, but you know, keep them the same so I don't make some other blunder. Well, there's a lot of data in there. Well, I suppose what we need to do is change this to hour and a half, maybe. So this has still got. Then this says if it changes between the opening range set and the bottom of the hour, and then or it kicks over to the following hour because it's going to be constrained by the parameter here. Yeah, there you go. Oh, this is an interesting one. And it's only single break. It doesn't mean double break, I guess. I don't think there's a way to say that anywhere. Oh wait, yeah, sure as shit. Look at over here. Double break. Wow, look at there. There you go. 72% of the time, the double break happened after the first 30 minutes. In other words, in this time frame that we're in now, just between the bottom of the hour and Asia open. That's pretty interesting. And a lot of cases, well, several. But back 2 years, aha. Huh. Well, this is in 6 months. Because I'm still thinking about that statistic that says there's a high probability we're going to break both sides. So this day would not fall. This day would not fall into it because we're not breaking out both sides, apparently, because we're almost through with the period. Oof. Up. Well, that's pretty interesting. So we're going to be 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes. This will be over with and Asia will kick in. Maybe we'll get somewhere there. I don't want to make a ticket. I don't know. There's got to be a fact or something, a fact about FAQ about this thing. I'm curious to, what is their data update? Because we've just determined that it didn't update from yesterday. There's also another thing here. I think Magic's probably gone, actually. Because he does a lot of stuff with Claude, and there's a pretty robust AI function they've got going on over here, apparently. Oh, and I just screwed myself, and I gotta start all over again. Football. Okay. MES. I can tell you one thing, I'm ready for bed. Food and bed. I had to cut our walk short with my daughter, but to get back for this. By the time I picked her up and we got back here, it was already, we only got an hour in. Failed to fetch. Yes, that's okay. We know that that's the thing. So this is will be our Asia time zone here. Time zone pretty quick. How can I fix this? The reason this can be sorted by days, I think, is because these all cross over a day. You know? Or a certain number of hours, anyway. Well, 3 minutes. And I'm pretty sure we're not going to break that other side. So that stat is toast. And it's obviously because of the range I'm using. Oh, there you go. Ooh, double bottom. I'm glad you got him. So, yeah. There we go. There is the end of the Globex orb and the beginning of Asia, and look at them dump it. Asia's taking it lower with vengeance. So taking a front run on the ORB is perfect with hindsight, isn't it? And that works out really well. Really well. Let's slap this on over here. That's the opening of Asia. So now I need to jump over here, configure for Asia. And look at all this other stuff in a minute, and look up here at, and here we start to plot the opening range. Cool. Okay, let's see what happens with this one, and then I'm going to be toast in about an hour, I can tell you that right now. I'm tired. So let's see what we see. Here are the probabilities of, first of all, MES, 6 months. Yeah, 1 hour opening range. Yep. The right time zone. Okay. Report by day. Oh, Monday? Wow. Isn't that amazing how it how it varies. Let's see. Look at how it varies. This is really surprises me. It's as much as that ending zone, what difference that has. There's Monday, there's Tuesday. Look at that. I mean, that's that's pretty dramatic. And that's, you know, that's pretty crazy, I think. And this is not, don't pay attention to this as the in-play thing because it's only looking at a 15-minute, and I don't see how to change it. Oh, well, I guess I can change it right here. Never mind. Oh, but I can't make it an hour, only 30 minutes. So, not very helpful. Anyway, the orb is an hour. That's right. It's the MES. That's right. It's by weekday. Okay, everything. Making sure I'm tired, so I'm rummy. And I'm dyslexic, so when I get tired, you know, it's like extra fun. Extra fun. Okie dokie. So let's see what we're gonna do now. I think I can get rid of all of these. I don't think I need this stuff. Looks like an awful lot of lines there, doesn't it? These were the zones. I just cooked them up and put them on here. Asia continues here. It's been broken up by the orb, or the Globex, and then Asia, and London will kick in and be normal looking. And this is still looking like they want to sell her off. If I was a gambling man, I would just get up there close to the IB high, throw on a short. But I'm not. The point of this is to not be discretionary, gambly, gunslinger mode, and just I want to I'm trying to evaluate whether these are statistically interesting times for opportunity. Well, this is the time that a FOMO boomer could kick in with Monkey Boy and just get all excited about continuing shorts. I won't. And then if I wake up in the morning and it's sold off like hell, I'll be all upset. I'll be all butthurt. Not really. Not really. It is, Magic threw a short on right at the open. He took it off and did some other stuff, but had you done that and just managed it, look at 30 handles. That's the kind of hindsight that's hard to that really gets FOMO boy and Monkey Boy all excited. Obviously you can go back and look at thousands of days where you would have lost your butt, but we don't remember those. I am pooped. I'm looking forward to this top of the hour, and I will close the stream off. Get ready for the main stream tomorrow, and don't forget it's a non-farm payroll tomorrow, 7:30. Assuming they release it, and it should be it was always the biggest number. Yeah, so we're just looking, doing some statistics here to see whether there's some interesting opportunities in these time frames. Today is a pretty big sell-off happening here for some reason, but that gets my FOMO juices blowing because I like shorting. But it is certainly not any kind of a structured thing here. What I'm looking for is, where am I? Look at that go. Look at him go. Now, you need to, take into consideration that today was essentially a squeeze from the selling yesterday. So what does that mean? It means maybe they took some of their profit and now they're going to just hammer it down, and down we go again. This market has got to correct at some point. So that's inevitable, I think. Well, I don't think so. I believe that. So this price action today was essentially a squeeze for these guys. But remember, it's zero. The trading is a zero-sum game, right? So futures trading is a zero-sum game. That's really important to understand. Okay, so let's start analyzing the stats on this Asia opening range trade and see what we can look forward to, or how I would go about approaching. Oh man, my eyes are just killing me. Sorry. So let's get to Edgeville. Here we are, the correct time zone, the correct instrument, looking back 6 months, by weekday, Thursday. Basically a dead heat, 50-50 whether we're going to break up or break down. The way Edgeville uses these terms, break up is a long and break down is a short. In other words, the IV, looking at the two IVs, simple to do here. Break up, break out is up, break down is taking out the lower. It's real important with the statistics now to be aware of which level was formed first. In this case, it's the IV high, as it was in the Globex. And then as we near the end of the hour, which will fix the initial balance, and the stats will be up here. The closing candle is a really big deal. And the way those zones work are the closing zone, and it's just determined by where the closing or the closing price for the last candle of that of the period, right? So this would be the last closing candle of the initial balance or the opening range trade. This is not, because it's in the next time period. And the way you assign the ending zone percentages is you start, the lowest zone is opposite whichever level was formed first. In this case, it's the IB high. So assuming here's the closing candle, so it's 0 to 25, 25 to 50%, 50 to 75%, 75% to 100. So the closing zone that would be applied, which is the last bit of data, and it can be really meaningful, have a huge impact, would be this zone based on the close of the closing bar here for that opening range. And we'll do the same thing over here. I'm using, by the way, if you're new to this stream or my streams in general, my usual stream is 8:30 in the morning Central Standard Time until 1500. That's the cash market. That's the big boy. This is a new one that I started Sunday night, looking at these potential opportunities with the opening range breakout for the Globex, and which is here, and for the Asia session. See what happens. And this is, of course, I'm sure everybody knows, but probably me, because I had never used it before, TradingView. And the reason I'm using it, first of all, it's really handy. I've never used it before, and I'm really pleased with it. I find it enjoyable. Second of all, these indicators here are from Edgeful. They are invite-only indicators. All of these indicators are available, and I've only looked at a couple, right? These 3 or something so far. And they're part and parcel of the standard, anyone's basic subscription plan here with Edgeful. So the way I narrow these down is start with, well, here we can start with the standard chart, standard report for the opening range. And there we have it. No breaks, double breaks, single breakdown, break up. But let's cut to the chase, because that one is sort of meaningless. The days of the week. And then we will we'll do the by rejections and go on. I'm still just flabbergasted by how the impact of the days of the week and that closing zone. Look at this. Crazy, huh? That's pretty crazy to me, especially Tuesday. And now we're at Thursday. And then we're going to look at the next report that I'll be focusing in on is the rejection report, which gives you some indication as to which way this thing might jump. So, oh, look at this. Based on, oh, I got to change it around. I got to do some changing over here. The ending zone and the day of the week needs to be changed on this report in the custom place. So let's go all days and let's go all weekdays. And we're in Asia. Okay, so if the opening range high is formed first, these are the probabilities for the breakouts, the opening range high or the opening range low. Other way around, if the low forms first, we know so far that the high was formed first, so we can expect this. Basically, now start taking this to the next levels, and let's look at Thursday. Pretty big difference. And then we'll throw in this closing zone, and gets even bigger. So these are nearing equal, nearing 50-50 here. So we just need to let it form up and see where we go. We've got a long time to go. And this is my version of it here on IRT. Man, they're selling them straight down. They're likely gonna take back all. Now remember that this is today's RTH session. This is my micro composite chart, right? Which is remember that you can always look in the header of these windows. This is the micro ES daily periodicity daily chart. RTH session. So each one of these is an RTH session. This is the RTH session, which just closed at 1600 a day. This is yesterday. So they shorted them off, they squeezed them back, and this little white guy nub over here is where we're trading now. So that's reflecting right there. And here's the open for the RTH. And there's the low of the RT. This is IRT. So we'll just stand by here and watch our statistics and see what happens. I don't anticipate putting a trade on today, frankly, because I'm all set up for the hedge. Trade management in case that should become a thing, but I am tired, and I am real conscious of, or I should say I'm aware. I try to be really aware of my state, FOMO, monkey boy, and tired. You want to be sharp, and I don't want to be making mistakes and get in a trade and then not be able to manage it properly because I'm not firing on all cylinders. So you need to be aware of those things. That would be in effect tilt, right? Tired is tilt. It's a fight with your wife or your husband or your significant, whatever it is, tilt. That's probably one of the worst, probably more deleterious to traders than FOMO or over trading. Because it can throw off your whole judgment process. And in my case, I don't have those worries, so I'm tired, but I am tired. When I do these two streams now, I'm on the desk here for 12 hours, essentially, every day. And these are standing desks, so. And in the meantime, I run out and get Tam, or we go for a 3 or 4 mile walk in the crossover period, because she needs to be doing that for one of her classes. And Mom's paging me out there, so I got to go see what's up with the boss. That NQ really fell out of bed hard. Wow. Well, we're past the 30-minute mark here in the Asia ORB. I won't stop itching. I guess the air quality must be in the toilet. And you can figure we're going to get more downside here. We got the ledge going on, man. The ledge. I hate the ledge. There's a little bit of taper coming in now, but not much. Anytime these things are flat, you know, it just doesn't look right. Probably not right. They usually come back and fix them. I've got to do something about this quote page here. Ooh, VPOC migration. Now what are we going to do? Probably safe to put in this IB high line over here on this one. I'm gonna look at. Wait a minute. I'm gonna see exactly what they're calling the IB high over here. Let's look. Oops! I gotta change the thingamajigger here, the dashboard. Gotta get rid of the one down here for the orb, for the Globex, and activate or highlight the one for the Asia. There we go. We're at 12-point range so far. Okay, what am I doing here? Where am I? Who's on third? Okay. So right now the Asia opening range is 75, 73 half. So let's put those over here. Vertical and horizontal. Yeah, vertically I'd work. 65, 70. Oh, so it did tick it up here. 73 half. So that's the opening print. That's the IB high for the Asia session. Okay. And the low obviously isn't in yet. This is like watching grass grow here. So yeah, here we are, watching the grass grow, waiting for the ending zone, and I don't think I'll be paying much attention to the retrace. That didn't do me any good in the Globex. The old system worked pretty well today. About 78 ticks, and just at T2. You know, if I were actually actively managing this, there's no way it would have continued. I typically trail them behind the swings, right? So. Actually, that's hindsight. Because if you stop and think about what I just said, I would normally trail this behind the swings. Well, then I would have been stopped out right here, or right here. So this is a classic example of just having the profit targets. When T1 is achieved, then it does trail to break even. The entry, I'm sorry. But in this case, it went on to T2 without any heat. This one worked. This strategy worked quite well for several months, 3 or 4, and then it just suddenly went into a drawdown, consecutive stops one after the other, and exceeded the expected parameter for consecutive stops in the backtesting. So. Time to put that on the shelf and figure out why. Okay, we got 14 and a half more minutes for. I don't know if I can stand this excitement. Gee whiz. But that's not the point. The point is not excitement. The point is profitable trade. So what I'm trying to determine here is interesting potential opportunities, right, in these 2 time frames. And I have to continue this for at least, well, through tomorrow and probably next week to make sure where that there is or isn't. If there's not, if it's just a waste of time, well then I'm probably got something better to do. But you don't. It's important to understand about trading, I think. Your homework and your data analysis and all that's the bulk of the work. The trading day itself, the RTH session, that's not it. That's where all of the hard work comes to play in terms of hours and effort. I really believe that. I just need to exercise a little and wait, so get my blood going here. Do some squats or something. Get some dinner at the top of the hour and put a new breaker in the service panel for the dryer. That ought to be exciting. And then point my ass. Go to bed, go directly to bed, and do not collect, pass go or collect $200, right? Boy, when you look at these kind of sessions, it's like, man, just go gunslinger mode, and knock them dead. You know, I'm really I don't do that because that's not my trading methodology and my trade plan. You know, maybe I need to review that, but that's not it. So, hey, Lucky, what's up, buddy? What are you thinking there, buddy boy? You thought Mom was going to bed and she's not, and now you're all confused? Happens to me a lot. Mom confuses me a lot there, buddy boy. I've got another 10 minutes here on the stream, Tim. Sorry. My daughter was standing in the door tapping her foot. Well, of course, well, I'll have to think about this. How long I'm going to continue the stream here today. When we get close to the top of the hour, when we'll have this IB set, we jump over to Edgeful and look at that data. And that might be it for today. Rather than waiting to see what happens with the whether the continuation pull, plays out or not. I'm definitely not put a trade on now because I know that I'm way too tired. I'm aware that I'm way too tired to stand here and manage it properly. So the best plan is to not put it on. Or you know, if I want to get away from the hedge completely, which is the trade management system, additional trade management that I'm working on and have been, I could go back to the multi brackets, put on, you know, with the stops and T1, T2 and the stop, and then you can throw a trade on and go to bed. Except tomorrow's non-farm payroll, so you certainly don't want to have any unattended orders laying out there that you weren't aware of, because you could get a real rude awakening. And even with these cooked up numbers that the Bureau of Labor Statistics is pushing out now, there's still quite a bit of movement on the non-farms. It's basically the key metric for labor market, I guess, and in roundabout indication of inflation and the economy. Well, I would suppose they're going to jump down to that liquidity that's lined up at about the 56.5. Right here. Excuse me. So we're damn near there, huh? I'll be flabbergasted if they don't drop through here and grab that liquidity. That seems to be, that's their MO for the last few weeks now. They keep pushing that IB lower. Or that IB is OB. Wow, 17-point range so far in this Asia OB. That's a lot. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's definitely could be interesting. So we've got about 3 or 4 minutes to go here. Let's start thinking about data now. There's a first break opportunity of 58% on the, because we formed the, hello, what happened here? Well, what was that all about? It was refreshing or something, or whatever, I don't know. I don't know how you do that. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do when that happens. I guess you do that. So, and that is all where we were, right? Custom, rejection, opening range. Ah, see, it changed. It pulled back to Asia. I mean, it pulled back to New York. So here we are, back where we were. Wow. Doing the sneeze thing now. What's going on with that? So we're on Thursday. We've got the proper day. That's good. I'm just checking where we are. The zone we haven't put in yet. And definitely the IB highs definitely formed first. So we'll see what we get. Assuming that we do get the IB low, which makes sense. This is on breakout. So if this is a breakdown, there's a 70% probability that we will retrace to the 25% level, 36 to the 50. That means then that, better viewed here, I think, if we break the opening range low, 70% probability will retrace to this 25% zone, 33 to the 50. I don't feel comfortable trading in anticipation of these levels, especially when there's such a short or such a close, there's such a close split here with rejection, you know? That's about a pretty damn close to a coin flip, whether it'll be the opening, or the high or the low will break first. Looking at the price, I would say low, wouldn't you? But there you go. So that's what I'm going to be looking at here now. And then the next thing we've got to put in is the opening, is the all-important closing zone. And there we are. It's set. So the IB has been set. And we can go zoom over here and see that. So there's the IB set. Here is where the last candle closed in that IB. So the way you assign the zone percentages are, the lowest is opposite the first level to form. So 0 to 24, 20 or 5, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 75 to 100. So our closing zone is right down here in the 0 to 24% range, and it's already taken out the IV low with that candle. So let's jump back to the data and put in that that zone, 0 to 25. Boom. Now that substantially changed, and we've already had the breakout, right? That's already happened. So this panned out. Now what we need to think about, if we were going to continue to trade this after the rejection or after the thing, is to see what the retracement would be. Here we go again. 70 and 36. So there's a 70% probability now we're going to pull back to here. 36 that we'll pull back to here. It doesn't talk about, this doesn't give you an idea about continuation. So that's a piece I've got to start figuring out. But and we did tag. Guess what? Guess exactly what we tapped out on. That liquidity that I was talking about a while ago. Oh. Quite an interesting development that's happened lately. Okay, so there we go. I'm pooped, so I'm going to call it a night. I've got to set up for this stream tomorrow morning at 0800 Central Standard Time for the pre-market. And don't forget, whatever you do, tomorrow morning at 7:30 is non-farm payroll. Big deal. Be flat. Be there, be square, and be flat. The stream will start at 8 o'clock in the morning, as always, with the pre-market. Set up the data, set up the statistics, determine all the statistics from that study, and then we'll stream her live all day until 1500 for the full cash session. I'm going to get rid of that. And this. And Blue Boy's on now for the first of the Globex. Yep, he's there. Okay. Cool. So thanks a lot for coming by. I appreciate it. Yeah, Stephen, have you come right at all with the session prices or figured out whether your data for IRT is the same as Bookmap or anything like that, or none of my business? Not a problem. But if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. I'm happy to do that. So I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, boys and girls. Remember, like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for coming by. I really do appreciate it. Contribution in the chat is super groovy and super helpful. And this is never to be considered a my way or the highway streams. This is a collaborative effort to improve and get us all where we need to be as consistently profitable traders. Trading has got to be, in my opinion, one of the most phenomenal opportunities around that I'm aware of. And so we need to cash in on them and maximize them, right? That's my focus. And also be sure that, you have a work-life balance and that you take enough time away from these screens to maintain, be healthy, exercise, eat properly, make sure you're well rested, you're hydrated, all that stuff when you come to trade, because we are in one of the more highly competitive environments. Well, have a great night. I'll see you in the morning at 0800. And thanks for coming through the stream, Steve and Magic and Anthony. I'm sure he's cutting Z's over there in Portugal already. Okay, well, yeah. Well, cool. That's a hell of a lot better. There you go. Work-life balance. That's important, My standard catchphrase or phrase here is, life's what happens while you're making other plans. It's like I wasn't able to take the opening range trade this morning, and it was a beauty because I was driving, Tam needed to be driven somewhere. No, I have no regrets about that. Yeah, so there we go. And with that, I will pull this down so I can get scheduled up for in the morning, and then I'm southbound and down. See you guys later.